on the next Rick and Morty.
Don't drop the truth tortoise. Also, whatever you do, don't look into its eyes.
I did look at it, Rick.
Now you're gonna know everything, Morty. Good job.
I can't go on like this with the truth tortoise in my head.
Come on, Morty. Come with me.
What the hell is this?
This, Morty, is my archive of all the experiences you've begged me to remove from your life. I call them Morty's Mind Blowers. And we'll be doing this instead of interdimensional cable.
Bird person, you always stick up for Rick, but he doesn't care about anyone but himself. He doesn't think about the consequences of anything he does.
And as a result, he has the power to save or destroy entire worlds. And he is the reason you and I know each other, and the reason I'm alive at all.
What's that? Who's that baby?
You've lived quite a life, Rick. It's a real shame you're not going to be around to see it through. You're crying over a Morty? No, I'm just allergic to dipshits.
Hey everybody, new Rick and Morty. So I've gotten so many requests for an Evil Morty origin story video, and so many of you believe the popular theory that he is the original Morty of C-137 Rick, making him C-137 Morty because they never officially confirmed which Morty our Morty is. They just make him seem like C-137, and because we only meet them in the pilot episode, we don't really know when their first adventures were, so there's a lot of backstory that's really mysterious. And I think there's been some evidence in previous episodes, as well as episode 8, where Morty learns the truth about everything from accidentally staring into the truth turtle's eyes, that spells out a little bit more of the backstory pre-our Morty in the first episode. So if you are finding me for the first time, be sure to subscribe to get everything. We'll be doing Season 3 and Season 4 videos pretty soon too. But the important thing to remember about Rick is that he cares about Morty. That's what we find out during that evil Rick torture scenario where he's showing him his lifetime. He's just pulling memories out and you see a baby Morty, but you don't know which baby Morty it is. So I think that a lot of people jump to the conclusion that that is in fact the evil Morty because they believe that the pilot episode is the very first adventure that our Morty goes on with Rick, meaning that he's not the original Morty of C-137 Rick, which I actually think is wrong. I think that this Morty is our Morty, like the one that we're seeing stare into the eyes of the truth turtle, and he's had adventures with Rick before this first episode, but they've been so traumatic that he just had the memories removed. So when you're looking at all these memory vials here, there's stuff that predates episode 1, and because he actually stares into the eyes of the truth turtle, he gets the whole dose of the truth, not just the memories that he's had removed. So he also probably learns something about Evil Morty's backstory too, and it'll be interesting to see if he actually retains on to some of that information or if Rick just pulls it right back out. Because the fun thing about Rick and Morty is that during Season 2, like that bird person clip where Morty's like, he doesn't care about anybody, he's slowly coming to that conclusion, but then you get the speeches from people like Bird Person who explain, no, you don't understand what's going on, Morty, and he tells them wubba lubba dub dub means I am in great pain. So part of the beauty of C-137 Rick is that he's so messed up, I mean it's hilarious, but he's really just trying to protect his family. Despite scenes like this where he's at the Morty store making them seem completely disposable, and that only came after we saw the council try to give him a voucher for one free Morty, where he's like, no, we don't want Morty to learn that he's completely disposable. So really the lesson there is just to take everything they tell you about Rick's backstory with a grain of salt. Maybe it's true, maybe there's some falseness in there. They've even come back and said that when he's showing his origin story to the Gronflamites and it turns out to be completely false, that it's actually not completely false. There's a little bit of truth in there. Based on all that, it seems like what happened is that Evil Morty is one of the original Mortys and just happens to be smarter the way we've seen some dumber versions of Rick like Tall Morty. I know there are all kinds of theories about Tall Morty, but I think he's just meant to serve as an example of a Rick just because there are infinite Ricks, that there are some that are born just not quite as smart as other Ricks. So you then have to assume that there are Mortys that are smarter than other Mortys, even though Rick keeps telling him how dumb he is. I know a lot of you are also talking about that comment that he had at the end where he says, a cocky Morty could lead to some bad things for everyone.
Just don't get too big for your loafers, Buster Brown. A cocky Morty can lead to some big problems. Can be a real bad thing for everybody.
Oh yeah? How's that?
I'll explain when you're older.
And the way they cut that scene with the evil Morty reveal definitely implies that Rick has knowledge of an evil Morty or other cocky Mortys that led to really bad things. But I think he's speaking mostly in generalities because he's hopped to so many different dimensions that he's dealt with examples of evil Morty before. He's the ultimate example of how bad a Morty can get when he starts acting like he thinks Rick's act. So, like I said, Morty completely misinterprets what Rick is like. So evil Morty is someone who's emulating a lot of the things that Ricks do in a very sinister way. He just burns his way through many Ricks. That was what that scene was about. Where's your original Rick? And we know that he's already burned through one of them because we saw him abandon evil Rick, and we don't know that that was his first Rick. That could have been C-137, but I still feel like what they're trying to tell us with all these bird person flashbacks and the idea that Rick did come back during that 20-year absence to hold baby Morty from C-137 before he left again. So just because Beth talks about Rick being gone for most of her childhood doesn't mean that he didn't pop back in every once in a while.
Sounds like you and my dad have a long history together. Wish I could say the same.
The road your father and I walk together is soaked deeply with the blood of both friends and enemies.
Must be nice. I used to have to draw him into family photos with a crayon.
Okay, so let me get this straight. For the rest of your lives, no matter how much it hurts you, no matter how much it destroys our children's futures, we're gonna do whatever Rick wants, whenever he wants?
Yes!
Why?
Because I don't want him to leave again, you dumb asshole!
I think the idea that when she was growing up and when Morty was growing up, he popped in every once in a while and then would just erase people's memories when things would happen. So even though our Morty is only supposed to be about 14 years old now, there's probably earlier memories of Rick that he's just had erased somewhere in this room. But hopefully that explains a little bit about Morty and Rick's backstory before the first episode, the origin of evil Morty, how he still had to sort of falling out with Rick, but it doesn't confirm that evil Morty is C-137 Morty. And I wouldn't be surprised if our Morty is the way he is because he's had memories removed. Maybe he would also turn into an evil Morty too if he always knew the truth. And maybe that has something to do with what's going on with evil Morty. He's just a version that has more knowledge than any other Morty of the crazy things that Rick has done. And even though ultimately Rick is a good person, you have infinite Ricks, so he's seen enough evil Ricks that has twisted him. But congratulations to the latest giveaway winner, Garrett94. Please private message me on the back end of my channel so I can get your contact details. The giveaway is for the art book that they just released now. All you have to do to enter that is just be a subscriber, leave a comment on this video. I'll announce a new winner when I post my episode 8 video tomorrow. But be sure and check it out, new episode tonight. While you wait for that, you can click here for my episode 7 video, and you can click here for brand new Flash Season 4. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay awesome. I'll see you guys tonight.